Paso Police Department is investigating what they are calling a murder-suicide after a man and a woman were found dead in an East El Paso home. What police are saying about the investigation so far. Then 2 children were killed and dozens others were injured after a gunman opened fire at a church in Minneapolis. Police say the suspect allegedly died by suicide after the shooting. We hear from their mayor. And it looks like we're expecting another round of rain showers. Robert?
Monica, if we get rain tonight, there'll be thunderstorms that will be brief. But the good stuff, the heavy rain, that comes in for Labor Day weekend. I'm going to have your detailed forecast. We're live on KTSM 9+, and your news starts right now.
You're watching KTSM 9 News First at 4. Starts right now.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for tuning in to KTSM 9+, our digital newscast. I'm Monica Cortez. Topping our newscast this afternoon, El Paso Police. They're investigating what they're calling a murder-suicide after a man and a woman were found dead on Tuesday in an East El Paso home. Now, as we first told you yesterday, officers responded to a house on the Chelita Drive about a welfare check shortly before 9 a.m. Officers found 58-year-old Jose Urrieta dead in the home with a gunshot wound to his head. The victim, 58-year-old Lourdes Urrieta, was also found dead in the home. Now, according to police, the preliminary findings of the scene indicates that the man shot the woman and then shot himself. The investigation is still ongoing. Now, if you are having thoughts of suicide, you can always call the National Suicide Prevention number. That's the hotline at 988. Well, the city of Minneapolis is grieving today after a fatal shooting at a Catholic mass this morning. 2 children were killed in the shooting, according to Minneapolis police. The shooter fired through Annunciation Catholic Church's windows into a mass being held for the first week of school. Now, 2 children ages 8 and 10 were killed. 17 others, including 14 children, were injured, with 2 of those children being in critical condition. Mayor Jacob Fry is calling on the city and the nation to rally around the families of those impacted by the violence.
There are no words that can capture the horror and the evil of this unspeakable act. Children are dead. There are families that have a deceased child. You cannot put into words the gravity, the tragedy, or the absolute pain of this situation.
Now, the lone shooter died by suicide at the scene. That's all according to investigators. They are still working to establish a possible motive for the shooter or find any connection he may have had to the church. Well, Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, or DACA, activist Catalina Xochitl Santiago had a court hearing today after being detained on immigration charges at the El Paso airport earlier this month. Today, immigration activists are calling for her immediate release. Now, as we've been telling you, Santiago was detained while she waited to board a flight out of El Paso. According to a GoFundMe set up for her legal fees, Santiago was carrying a work authorization document when she was detained. She was later transferred to a federal immigration processing center. Now, DACA is a U.S. immigration policy that provides some people who were brought to the U.S. by their parents as children with temporary relief from deportation and work authorization. After a multi-vehicle crash happened along the eastbound lanes on I-10. KTSM obtained this video showing a semi-trailer hanging off the side of the interstate near Gateway East on Lomaland. A spokesperson with the El Paso Fire Department confirmed 5 people were taken to the hospital with minor injuries. 1 person was hospitalized with serious injuries. Now, the crash caused all eastbound lanes on I-10 before Lomaland and Gateway East of Lafayette to close. To read more on all of today's top stories, simply visit KTSM.com. All right, let's go ahead and take a little break from all of these headlines and take a look outside. So you're going to be seeing a few clouds here and there, these cumulus clouds. And if we know anything, cumulus clouds usually signify sometimes maybe rain. And so our chief meteorologist, Robert Bettis, is standing by. And Robert, are these clouds rain clouds?
Did you get a little rain last night?
I did. It was so nice. A little drizzle. It wasn't anything heavy.
Yeah, we didn't get anything in the Upper Valley, but on the east side, driving home, real nice light rain. What a refreshing, wonderful experience.
I love that.
All right, tonight if we get anything, it'll be isolated thunderstorms that crop up later tonight with the heating. 94 is the temperature at the airport right now. We've got a dew point at 55, so the atmosphere is very juicy and ready to go. If we get storms, these will be air mass thunderstorms driven by the heat. Here are the high temperatures so far. We've got 95 in Juarez, 89 Las Cruces, and 91 in Deming so far. A look at this satellite radar composite. Pretty quiet right now over Doña Ana County and El Paso County. But of course that can change. We've got isolated storms in the area, especially over Hudspeth County right now. So we'll keep that chance in of those developing storms that could actually come in later this evening. Now here's a quick look at tomorrow. I'm actually pulling back on the storm chances tomorrow, raising that temperature up to 98 degrees. Hot for a couple of days with those thunder showers returning this weekend. I'm going to have your detailed forecast coming up in just a bit. Monica.
Robert, thank you so much. All right, we're going to take you outside now using our TechStalk cameras. And this is a live picture of I-10 at Viscount. Do you see that backup? Yes, remember guys, I-10 at Lomaland, it is absolutely closed. So right now traffic is a nightmare. If you're heading in that direction, if you're heading towards the east or even heading west, you're going to be finding yourselves in a mess. I-10 Yarborough, you can see that everything has been shut down, so all of the traffic has been forced onto the gateway. This is another picture of I-10 Viscount. Your best possible bet right now is to either use Montana or the border highway as alternate routes. All right, sticking with those roads, there are some closures across town that could affect your commute this week. And according to TxDOT, as part of the Trans Mountain Rehab, Loop 375 east and west between Tom Mays and Main Gap will have a left lane closure Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. TxDOT tells us that crews will be working on punch list items. As part of the Loop 375 border highway safety lighting, crews are going to be working on the shoulder on Loop 375 westbound between Fonseca and San Marcial. That's Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. And Loop 375 eastbound at Delta between Cypress and Customs will have a right lane closed for a long time. This is a long-term closure, and according to TxDOT, crews are actually going to be working on lighting improvements. And to keep up with all the road closures happening across town, make sure you're visiting KTSM.com and click on that traffic tab. Well, in national coverage, a new poll revealed what Americans think about the president's handling of top issues facing the U.S. In today's Political Minute, News Nation's Blake Berman, he crunches those numbers.
Where the country stands on key issues. I'm Blake Berman, host of The Hill on News Nation. A new AP NORC poll shows that President Trump is underwater on two issues that helped get him back to the White House. On the economy, he's minus 11 points, and on immigration, minus 9. But when it comes to the issue of crime, a majority of Americans approve of his performance, 53 to 45. It's an issue that's been front and center in Washington, D.C. recently. The president making headlines by federalizing the city's police department and deploying the National Guard. He has since proposed sending troops to other major cities, including Chicago. But the Illinois governor has said, in his view, that's not needed. The poll also found that a majority of Americans think using the military and National Guard to assist local police in large cities is acceptable, 55 to 37. However, about a third say taking control of local police departments is acceptable, while a majority do not approve of that idea. I'm Blake Berman, and this is the News Nation Political Minute.
All right, coming up, close to 2,000 housing units are coming to Las Cruces. We go over your thoughts about this announcement in our In the Comments segment. And after backlash from the public about Crackle Barrel's new logo change, they're deciding to return to its original branding. We have the details a little later in this newscast. Thank you so much for tuning in to KTSM 9+.
You get 2 pairs of free eye exam and anti-glare lenses for only $79.
Welcome back, everyone. Well, Las Cruces is going to be getting about 1,700 new affordable housing units under a lease announced Monday by the New Mexico State Land Office. So according to the State Land Office, the development will be in East Las Cruces on state land near Organ Mountain High School. Overall, the development named Mesa Vista will comprise around 4,300 housing units. 15% of the units will be affordable for families making less than 80% of the local area median income. So we shared this story on all of our social media pages, and many of you guys had a lot of thoughts you wanted to share with us. So we're going to begin with Leslie Coburn, who writes, they are building tons of houses in that direction, but no grocery stores or anything that is actually needed for that type of growth. Meanwhile, Miguel Acosta writes, much needed in our community, supporting our youth in the OM high school area. And Jason Nadick writes, Lord, no, this is awful. Why must we destroy every bit of wild space in the name of growth? Of course, we have a lot more information on the new housing units up on our website, like when you can expect them to be completed. So if you would like to learn more about that, just head on over to KTSM.com. And of course, here at KTSM, we of course value your opinion and we want to hear more from you. So make sure you're following us on all of our social media platforms to keep in touch with us through the comments. All right, guys, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this quick break.
Continues on. We're with you. Thank you for your service.
Your local weather authority, Robert Bettis, the Borderland's only certified broadcast meteorologist.
94 degrees at the airport right now. We've got partly cloudy skies out there. It's pretty quiet, but we know the monsoon, that can certainly change. I want to keep a pretty good chance of at least isolated thunderstorms in tonight, and some of those storms could produce some brief heavy rainfall. We're going to pull back on those storms for Thursday, but then they return with a vengeance for football Friday night. Dew point 55, so it's nice and juicy. The atmosphere is charged up. moderately unstable, not crazy unstable or anything like that. 89 is the temperature in Las Cruces right now. We've got a dew point of 50 and a light wind at 6 miles per hour. High temperatures in other parts of the borderland: 88 Alamogordo, 91 so far for Deming, 95 Juarez, 91 for Van Horn. A look at the satellite radar composite. Much like yesterday, we see partly cloudy skies with scattered showers and thunderstorms, and it's pretty quiet at this point across Doña Ana County, El Paso County as well. But that can change. So far, most of the action over here in the heart of Hudspeth County. Now, we've got some forming storms to the north and west of Deming right now. Again, we'll keep watch, and of course, nature could choose not to develop anything tonight. The chance is certainly there, but if we do get something, I think the rain would be brief tonight, moving along quickly. Here are the temperatures right now in your area. Now, tomorrow, we actually get a little bubble of high pressure that builds up for 2 days, Thursday and Friday. As such, I've got to raise that high temperature up a little bit. So here is your exclusive 9-hour forecast for tomorrow. High temperature 98 degrees with partly cloudy skies. I'm putting in only a slight chance of isolated area storms for our Thursday, a much better chance on Friday. Allergy-wise, very steady in the 9s, which is the high range for the next few days. Here are the low temperatures tonight: 69 for Alamogordo, 67 Deming, 72 Juarez, 69 Van Horn. High temperatures tomorrow: 93 Alamogordo, 95 TRC, 97 for Deming, 99 for Juarez, so very close to the triple digits. 69, your low temperature tonight in Las Cruces, with again that chance of a developing isolated area thunderstorm producing some brief heavy rainfall. Tomorrow for you, pulling back on that storm chance a little bit, raising that temperature to 96 degrees. Tonight for us at the International Airport, 72. I don't think we're going to have that pleasant light rain overnight again that we saw last night and early this morning. Unfortunately, that was so beautiful. 98 the high temperature, pretty dry with only the slightest chance of an isolated storm. Now, coming up within 30 minutes, we'll talk about the Labor Day weekend. And unfortunately, the strong storm potential starts Friday night, and I'll have full details coming up in just a little bit. You stay with us.
world.
Welcome back, everyone. Well, Cracker Barrel is reversing course and scrapping its brand new logo. So the country-themed restaurant plans to return to its original branding after conservatives accuse the chain of abandoning its traditional values or going woke with the debut of the new logo last week. Cracker Barrel's new All the More campaign removed the old man perched on the chair and the barrel from its signs. President Trump even weighed in on the matter today, writing on his Truth Social that the company should return to the old logo. Cracker Barrel has restaurants in 43 states with 70,000 employees. Well, the price of beef has been steadily increasing over the past year, now reaching record levels, with ground beef and steaks 12% more expensive compared to 2024. Well, that's according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Jack Doherty has more on what's causing the price hike.
We are in the middle of a classic cattle cycle in the United States, which happens every so often. We are at the lowest cattle inventory in the country by some metrics, the lowest since 1950.
Probably 10 years we've seen cattle numbers slowly going down, and that limits supplies within the United States. But we produce a really great product that people like, not just here but across the world. So we have a good demand for our product.
Last year today we were buying heifers for $2.30 a pound and steers for $2.60 a pound, and today they have costed like $3.30 to $4 on some of these steers, and these heifers are still rising.
Farmers are cooling cows more often than they would otherwise because of the incentive that the high cattle prices are there.
We're enjoying these beef prices while they last. We know they will not last forever.
Great time for the American farmer. He can actually pay some of his land and some of his equipment cost and operating costs compared to previous years where you're just kind of floating by.
All right, that was Jack Doherty reporting. Well, don't go anywhere. We still have another half hour of news and weather coming up.
deep, uninterrupted sleep. And now save up to $500. Mattress Firm. We make sleep easy.
Welcome back, everyone, to KTSM 9 Plus. Topping our newscast, El Paso Police, they're investigating what they called a murder-suicide after a man and a woman were found dead on Tuesday in an East El Paso home. Now, as we've been telling you since yesterday, officers responded to a house on the Chelita Drive about a welfare check shortly before 9 a.m. Officers found 58-year-old Jose Urrieta dead in the home with a gunshot wound to his head. The victim, 58-year-old Lourdes Urrieta, was also found dead in the home. According to police, the preliminary examination of the scene indicated that the man shot the woman and then shot himself. The investigation into this incident is still ongoing. Now, if you are having thoughts of suicide or you know someone who is, you can always call the National Suicide Prevention Hotline at 988. Meanwhile, 6 people were injured after a multi-vehicle crash happened along the eastbound lanes on I-10. KTSM obtained this video you're seeing here showing a semi-trailer hanging off the side of the interstate near Gateway East at Lomaland. A spokesperson with the El Paso Fire Department confirmed that 5 people were injured and they were taken to the hospital with minor injuries. 1 person was hospitalized with serious injuries. The crash caused all eastbound lanes on I-10 before Lomaland and Gateway East at Lafayette to close. To read more on today's top stories, just simply visit KTSM.com. Well, going over to our border report, many foreign students not sure if they would be allowed back for classes after President Trump threatened to drastically reduce the number of student visas provided to foreign students. Salvador Rivera has the story.
On a rainy day back in June, we visited the UCSD campus. Back then, the Trump administration had announced a big reduction in the amount of visas for foreign students, including 50,000 for Chinese students just in the state of California. The president back then said Chinese students were, quote, exploiting U.S. universities. Now it appears President Trump has changed his mind after meeting with his counterpart from China.
I hear so many stories about we're not going to allow their students, or we're going to allow their students to come in.
President Trump has announced the U.S. will more than double the current amount of visas being used by Chinese students at American universities.
600,000.
The 600,000 visas for Chinese students being proposed by President Trump is the highest ever. During the 2019-2020 school year, during Trump's first term in office, 372,000 Chinese nationals were here on student visas.
Very important.
But many Trump supporters don't see it as very important. On social media, people like Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene are saying, quote, we should not let in 600,000 Chinese students to attend American colleges and universities that may be loyal to the Chinese Communist Party. She goes on to say we should never allow it. Laura Loomer is even more critical, stating, quote, nobody, I repeat, nobody, wants 600,000 more Chinese students, aka communist spies, in the United States. President Trump says the 600,000 visas for Chinese students will help to, quote, get along good with China. Salvador Rivera, Border Report.
In other border report news, a woman is headed to prison for pepper spraying a Border Patrol agent. So a judge in Arizona sentenced 51-year-old Sandra Mesa Casillas to 2 years in prison after pleading guilty to assaulting a federal agent. The incident took place back in April in Nogales, Arizona, after the agent saw the woman go over the wall. In an attempt to go unnoticed, Casillas laid flat on her stomach, but was encouraged by 2 other people on the other side of the wall to run away. Court records do show Mesa pulling out a canister and pepper spraying the agent on his left cheek after the agent caught up to her. The agent did apprehend her. Well, U.S. Secretary of Health and Human Services Robert F. Kennedy Jr. stopped by the Texas Capitol earlier today to celebrate the passage of Make America Healthy Again legislation in Texas. The MAHA movement sparked by Kennedy during the 2024 president campaign continues to have an incredible influence on Texas Republicans and how they govern state capitol. Reporter Adam Schwager, he has the story on why Kennedy says Texas is leading the nation.
So thank you, Secretary Kennedy, for what you've done to step up and let me know.
Texas Governor Greg Abbott hosting a key figure in the Trump administration and the leader of the Make America Healthy Again movement.
Finally, this Make America Healthy agenda has caught on fire in this whole country, in Texas as well. And so
that's State Senator Mays Middleton, who helped pass a bill to ban the usage of food stamps for sugary drinks and candy. Middleton says this ought to have been done for years, but was now possible thanks to having an ally in the White House.
For years we've attempted to pass legislation like this, and we've never had, such a friend in the administration like President Trump and Secretary Kennedy.
In addition to changing SNAP, Republicans authored bills this session to restrict additives in school lunches, to increase physical activity in public and charter schools, and to label food chemicals banned in other countries. University of Texas politics professor Jim Henson says lots of these ideas are actually bipartisan.
You did have Robert F. Kennedy, who's a very prominent advocate of this, leave the Democratic Party and align himself with Donald Trump. If you look at some of the measures that have been taken, including the different components of the MAHA bill, it is a mixture of fairly mainstream measures.
And the Texas Republicans' love for Kennedy goes both ways.
You're not only making Texas healthy again, you're making America healthy again.
Kennedy will remain in Austin tomorrow, where he'll speak with the governor about rural health care issues in Texas. In Austin, I'm Adam Schwager.
All right, let's go ahead and take you outside now using our tower cameras, and this is what it looks like. So, man, look at those clouds out in the distance. They're starting to build. Yeah, those definitely do look like rain clouds. Let's go ahead and send things over to Mr. Robert Bettis. Robert, okay, so you're talking about another round of storms tonight.
Not quite exactly like last night. Last night was unique. It was just extraordinarily humid.
Yes.
And the light rain just started and kept on going. We got 0.05 at the airport last night.
We finally registered something at the airport?
Something at the airport. I know it chose to go to the airport this time. Tonight, we'll get these fast-moving storms with brief heavy rainfall. So a little different, but we'll take every drop we can get any old way we can get it. 94 is the temperature at the airport right now. Dew point, look at that, 55, nice and juicy, ready to go. 89 Las Cruces, 95 so far Juarez, 91 Deming, and 88 in Alamogordo. Satellite radar composite. The moisture is here, and now with the afternoon heating, we'll see these little isolated storms pop up. If we get anything tonight, these thunder showers will develop, dump that brief heavy rainfall, and be out of the picture. I don't see it forming the cloudy skies and the light pitter-patter of rain the way it did early this morning. Here's a quick look ahead. Tomorrow, 98, I'm pulling back on the chance of storms. I think it'll be a pretty dry day, and then those thunder showers return potentially with a vengeance Friday night. I'm going to have your detailed forecast coming up in just a bit. Monica.
Robert, thank you so much. Well, this is Labor Day. It's already this weekend. Like most, if you do plan to hit the roads, you're going to be joined by a whole lot of people. To avoid those bigger crowds, make sure that AAA is advising to make sure you leave early between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. on most days. While AAA doesn't collect data on Labor Day travel numbers, previous holidays have shown an uptick in travelers hitting the road.
A lot of that is being driven by lower travel prices. Really across the board, whether you're flying, stayed in a hotel, renting a car, driving, you'll see some year-over-year savings in that area.
So nationally, the average price of a gallon of gas is $3.20. Statewide, gas prices average in Texas is $2.79, and El Pasoans, as always, we're always paying the most on average at $3.12 per gallon. Well, it's not every day you see the federal government taking a stake in a private company. President Donald Trump says it's in its best interest of the country for Washington to own a 10% share in tech giant Intel. Now, Washington correspondent Rashad Hudson explains.
Intel, one of the nation's largest software companies, is getting a very powerful investor, the U.S. government.
I want to see Intel do well.
The deal gives the federal government a 10% stake in Intel through billions in previously granted funds. It's part of the CHIPS and Science Act, legislation designed to boost semiconductor production in the U.S. President Trump has been a critic of the CHIPS Act, but says he pushed for this agreement.
You know, Intel was a great company, and it can be a great company again. But I said, I think it would be good if we own 10% of your company. He said, I'll make that deal.
This isn't just about semiconductors. President Trump is signaling he wants to rewrite the relationship between government and big business.
Companies that the government has a hand in are likely to do what the government wants, not so much what they might do otherwise if it was just a competitive situation.
I spoke with Rita McGrath at Columbia Business School about why the Trump administration is making this move.
I think the Trump administration would like to be able to take credit if there is a revival, of the company. They will clearly want to bring manufacturing back to the States.
And the president isn't stopping with Intel. He's indicated he'd like to see the U.S. have a stake in other companies as well. Reporting in Washington, Rashad Hudson.
Well, coming up, the Tigua community gathered Monday and Tuesday to honor the life of Cacique Jose G. Sierra Sr. We share your thoughts in our comments segment. Thank you so much for tuning in to KTSM 9+, always putting
now.
Your local weather authority, Robert Bettis, the Borderland's only certified broadcast meteorologist.
True story from the 10 o'clock news.
Okay.
Okay, so our director, Adam, came into the studios and said, oh, some drops are coming down. Me, out to my car to put the top up.
Oh, that's right, Robert.
Driving with the top down, but not last night. And it was raining even early in the morning after karaoke.
Oh my gosh.
So it was nice. It was nice.
So it's so funny because Robert has told me, like, usually we're so dry.
Yeah.
So it's nice for you to just drive,
Yeah.
no top on.
Nights down, no sun beating down on you.
Yeah, it sounds amazing.
You know what? I'll
Not
take
this year, right?
I will take the top up and the rain any old day.
Me
I
too.
love it.
Me
Okay.
too.
Wish we could repeat that tonight. We might get some storms with some brief heavy rain, but I don't think we're going to be cloudy and cool as we were last night with that nice little rain coming down. That was good, 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 good. Here are the rain totals. We actually had some make it to the official rain gauge at the airport, which is exciting. 0.05 from midnight to now, 0.06 Las Cruces, 0.02 Deming, and 0.04 for Ruidoso. So very nice. And you can see the very light blue color here. That indicates very light rain amounts, but rain amounts nonetheless, and we'll take it. 88 is the temperature in Las Cruces. It is gorgeous in Las Cruces today. Winds are calm, dew point 50, a little bit of moisture in the air, and hopefully that is going to turn into some evening thunderstorms and give you some brief heavy rainfall. Here's a look at the satellite radar composite. Most of the action is well to the east of El Paso right now over Hudspeth County as well as over Mexico. But this is a perfect example. These little storms crop up. They unload that intense rainfall for about 5-10 minutes, and then they're out of the picture. We're quiet between Las Cruces and El Paso right now, but with the afternoon heating and certainly the atmosphere has some instability, we'll keep that chance of storms in. And it really returns to us on Friday with potentially strong thunder showers by Friday evening. Here are the low temperatures, rather the temperatures right now in your neighborhood. We'll keep that chance in of isolated storms for this evening, but then it'll taper off. And unlike last night, we're going to clear up overnight. Tomorrow's going to be fairly hot and dry. I'm raising the temperature to 98 degrees as a little bubble of high pressure builds up for our Thursday. Only the slightest chance of an isolated area storm. Not a great chance of rain on Thursday. 9s across the board on the allergy forecast tonight. Lows 69 Alamogordo, 67 Deming, 72 Juarez, 93 Alamogordo, 97 Deming, and 99 for Juarez. Tonight for you, Las Cruces. Chance of isolated area storms. If you get any rainfall at all, it'll be moving quickly. High temperature tomorrow, 96, pulling back on the storm chances for Thursday. Only a slight chance. 72 low tonight at the international airports. Also that chance of isolated storms, brief rain, and then 98 tomorrow with very slight chance of an isolated area storm. Now, only KTSM gives you 9 full days of weather. I'm concerned about Friday. Every time I look at the data, it looks more unstable. And if we really do hit 98 that day, man, those storms could get strong that night. So just be prepared. It's football Friday night. 96 with thunder showers on Saturday. Sunday, potentially strong storms that day. Very unstable atmosphere. Monday, cloudy and rainy. It's Labor Day, but expect the clouds to keep us at 86. We could even see some heavy rain potential that day, especially in the morning hours. 89 Tuesday, 91 Wednesday, and then the storms taper off on Thursday and Friday. Monica.
Robert, thank you so much. Let's go ahead and take a look at your traffic cameras right now. Okay, guys, so if you didn't know, there is a massive closure on I-10 and Yarborough. So that lane is completely closed. I think it's at I-10 and Lomaland, but that closure and that backup just builds and builds and builds. So every road that you can expect on the east side will be congested. So this is a look at I-10 McRae. Look at the gateway. It is pretty packed. The freeway is pretty packed. So again, if you do have to travel to the east side, just know you are in for some pretty major delays. I would suggest using the Border Highway or Montana as alternate routes. In fact, sticking with those roads, there are some closures across town that may affect your commute this week. According to TxDOT, as part of the Trans Mountain Rehab, Loop 375 east and westbound lanes between Tom Mays and The Gap will be closed. So basically, you're going to have closures from Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. And TxDOT tells us the crews will be working on punch list items. Now, as part of Loop 375 border highway safety lighting, crews will be working on the shoulder on Loop 375 westbound between Fonseca and San Marcial. That's Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. And Loop 375 eastbound at Delta between Cypress and Customs will have a right lane closed for a long time. This is a long-term closure, and according to TxDOT, crews will be working on lighting improvements. And to keep up with all of the road closures happening across town, simply visit KTSM.com and click on that traffic tab. All right, so we all know that the Tigua community suffered a major loss. They gathered Monday and Tuesday to honor the life of Cacique Jose G. Sierra Sr. He died on August 16th at the age of 82. Visitation and rosary were held Monday evening at Our Lady of Mount Carmel Mission, and on Tuesday a funeral mass was followed by a very sad procession where Sierra's casket was carried from the church to Mount Carmel Cemetery. And Sierra had served as cacique since 2017, the highest spiritual and ceremonial role within the tribe. We of course shared the story all over our social media accounts, and many of you had lots of thoughts you wanted to share with us. We're going to start with Roberta Medina, who writes, "It's been a year since I visited Isleta and learned more about the history of my maternal ancestors, and the date the Tigua tribe was officially recognized in 1967. In honor of his passing, I honor his leadership and those of the remaining elders." Sylvia Garcia writes, "Cacique's spirit will live on through the hearts of those he touched." Raimundo Melendez says, "My condolences for La Firme Lowriders community." And finally, Alejandra Farias says, "Rest in peace, Cacique. My condolences to the family and the Tigua community." Of course, us here at KTSM, we offer our sincerest condolences to the family as well. And in honor of Cacique, the Speaking Rock Entertainment Center and the Tigua Smoke Shop remained closed during services. They are expected to reopen today. And here at KTSM, of course, we value your opinion and we want to hear more from you. So make sure you're following us on all of our social media platforms to keep in touch with us through the comments. Guys, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this quick break.
Well, we're here today with Dr. Jorge Acosta, the medical director of the Las Palmas del Sol Bariatric Clinic. Dr. Acosta, we're talking bariatric surgery. What is it, and what kind of surgeries do you guys offer at the clinic?
So bariatric surgery is the most powerful weight loss tool that we have to offer patients. These are minimally invasive procedures that provides patients with substantial amount of weight loss that's effective over a long period of time. The types of procedures that are offered include the robotic gastric sleeve, robotic gastric bypass, and the robotic SATI with sleeve.
Let's talk about some early warning signs. When should people think about bariatric surgery?
So people should start thinking about it once their degree of obesity is increasing. So those with severe obesity, those with morbid obesity, also those that have associated comorbid conditions like diabetes, blood pressure, sleep apnea, to name a few.
Doctor, thank you very much. Of course, for more, you can always visit LasPalmasDelSolHealthcare.com to find a provider near you.
Wellness Wednesday, sponsored by Las Palmas del Sol Healthcare. that puts local first. Sponsored by Las Palmas del Sol Healthcare.
A last look at the forecast. High temperature tomorrow, 98 degrees. The chance of storms tomorrow, only slight. Tonight, we still have a chance of isolated thunder showers. For Friday, those storms could return with a vengeance. Saturday, stormy thunder showers, strong storms Sunday, and a cloudy day with potentially heavy rain at times, especially in the morning on Labor Day. Tuesday, storms, and then the storms start to taper off. So just get ready for a stormy Labor Day. We're going to enjoy the weekend, but be ready for that. Monica?
Robert, I love that. Thank you so much. Well, here's a look at what's coming up at 5. 6 people were injured after a multi-vehicle crash on I-10, closing part of the highway. Diana Castillo has a traffic update for us. And Jesus Baltazar will tell us more about the proposed deck plaza, what out-of-town industry leaders say deck parks do for other cities. That is all coming up in just a couple of minutes. Well, that's it from me. I'm Monica Cortez. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Hair and wardrobe provided by